The year is 1938. A region of then Czechoslovakia, Sudetenland, dominated by ethnic Germans, was claimed by Hitler. Now obviously, Czechoslovakia was not willing to cede the territory so willingly. So at this point, there was major tension between Germany and Czechoslovakia. The then British Prime Minister, Neville Chamberlain, at this point, tried to become the mediator in this issue. It was perceived from his side that the best course of action in this situation was to allow Germany to take over Sudetenland, which was bound to be heavily opposed by Czechoslovakia. However, after long negotiations which involved Benito Mussolini, the Munich Agreement was signed, following which Germany's occupation of Sudetenland was accepted. The Czechoslovak government, although not a part of the talks, had to accept the agreement. This is where our story begins. Now in the aftermath of this event, on 24 January 1939, 12 Swedish members of parliament nominated the British Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain for the Nobel Peace Prize. They argued that Chamberlain had saved world peace through the Munich Agreement. The nomination letter mentioned how Chamberlain, through this dangerous time, saved our part of the world from a terrible catastrophe. 3 days after this, the Swedish parliamentarian Erik Brandt sent a letter to the Norwegian Nobel Committee, nominating the German Chancellor Adolf Hitler for the Nobel Peace Prize. His letter read as follows: To the Norwegian Nobel Committee, I hereby humbly suggest that the Peace Prize for 1939 is awarded the German Chancellor and Führer Adolf Hitler, a man who, in the opinion of millions of people, is a man who more than anyone in the world has deserved this highly respected award. Authentic documents reveal that in September 1938, world peace was in great danger. It was only a matter of hours before a new European war could break out. The man who during this dangerous time saved our part of the world from this terrible catastrophe was without no doubt the great leader of the German people. In the critical moment, he voluntarily did not let weapons speak, although he had the power to start a world war. By his glowing love for peace, earlier documented in his famous book Mein Kampf, next to the Bible, perhaps the best and most popular piece of literature in the world, together with his peaceful achievement, the annexation of Austria, Adolf Hitler has avoided the use of force by freeing his countrymen in Sudetenland and making his fatherland big and powerful. Probably Hitler will, if unmolested and left in peace by warmongers, pacify Europe and possibly the whole world. Sadly, there still are a great number of people who fail to see the greatness of Adolf Hitler's struggle for peace. Based on this fact, I would not have found the time right to nominate Hitler as a candidate to the Nobel Peace Prize had it not been for a number of Swedish parliamentarians who have nominated another candidate, namely the British Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain. This nomination seems to be poorly thought. Although it is true that Chamberlain, through his generous understanding of Hitler's struggle for pacification, has contributed to the saving of world peace, the last decision was Hitler's and not Chamberlain's. Hitler and no one else is first and foremost to be thanked for the peace which still prevails in the greater part of Europe, and this man is also the hope for peace in the future. As Chamberlain obviously can claim his share of the peacemaking, he could possibly have a smaller part of the Peace Prize, but the most correct thing to do is not to put another name beside the name of Adolf Hitler, and thereby throwing a shadow on him. Adolf Hitler is by all means the authentic God-given fighter for peace, and millions of people all over the world put their hopes in him as the Prince of Peace on earth. Now, naturally, a lot of people of his country got angry with him for this. He was claimed to be insane, clumsy, and a traitor to the values of the working class. However, the man himself was surprised by this reaction. When interviewed by the Swedish newspaper Svenska Morgonposten, Brandt explained that the nomination of Hitler was meant to be ironical. The nomination of Chamberlain provoked him to nominate Hitler as a provocation against Hitler and Nazism. The result of the Munich Agreement was that the Western powers stabbed Czechoslovakia in the back by handing over Sudetenland to achieve peace. Neither Chamberlain nor Hitler deserved a peace prize. In a letter to the editor of the anti-Nazi newspaper Trotz Alt, after the outbreak of the Second World War in the autumn of 1939, Brandt wrote that by nominating Hitler he wanted to, by the use of irony, suggest a peace prize to Hitler, and by that nail him to the wall of shame as enemy number one of peace in the world. However, due to the widespread opposition to the whole case, Brandt eventually decided to withdraw Hitler's name on February 1st of 1939. Ultimately, no one was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize that year, and you would know that was the year the Second World War began. So that's it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you like this video, do like, share, subscribe. See you in the next one.